Alicia Quarles needs help. Case point, period. She needs help. For a young woman who just a couple of months ago was on TV, won an Emmy for her journalism work, never had any scandal. All of a sudden, she's kicking cops in the stomach while she herself is pregnant. Yeah, we need to talk about Miss Alicia Quarles. I'm back here with another one. So, for those of you who might have heard or might not have heard, Alicia Quarles, who's famous for being on E! News and also the Daily Mail, which are weekday shows, was arrested. She was arrested for actually assaulting a police officer. She kicked the female police officer in the stomach. Now, there was a video up and she actually went live, but her Instagram has been taken down and it wasn't taken down by her. Now, I'm going to get to that after I read an article from New York Post, which reads, journalist Alicia Quarles arrested for allegedly kicking NYPD cop in stomach. A fashion and entertainment journalist who once regularly had spots on E! Was arrested for allegedly kicking a police officer in the stomach while cops were responding to a call for an emotionally disturbed person at her Queens home, police have said. Alicia Quarles, a one-time E! correspondent who appeared on an episode of Dr. Phil this year, according to IMDb, allegedly kicked the 32-year-old female officer in the stomach, causing her to fall and hurt her knee, police said. That's a workers' comp case right there. Cops showed up at Quarles' Hunters Point 24th Street home at 4:30 in the morning after receiving a call about an emotionally disturbed person at the address, but the 40-year-old correspondent allegedly refused to be taken to the hospital by an ambulance, which is when she allegedly assaulted a cop, police said. A source close to Quarles said she was having a mental health crisis and her friends called the cops for a wellness check because they were concerned about dark stories she had been posting on Instagram. Quarles and the officer were both taken to Cornell Hospital, police said. Quarles was charged with assault of a police officer, and that's a felony. If she really did that, she could go to jail. Now, more than likely, when they took her to the hospital, well, she didn't want to go to the hospital, but basically, her being arrested, she was. They did take her to Cornell. Okay, so they did take her to Cornell Hospital. That's on the east side. That's the former New York hospital. They more than likely took her to the mental health unit, psychiatric unit. You didn't want to go to the hospital, Alicia. I saw the video. Valerie, the neighbor, was like, Val, this is your neighbor. You know, we're trying to check up on you. You know, we just want to see if you're okay. And she was like, I am okay. Just get it away from me. Where Alicia Quarles messed up was that if you don't want people to bother you, don't open your door. You didn't have to open your door to the cops. It wasn't a warrant for your arrest. Now, they were begging her to basically come with them. If you look at the video, she didn't want to go. I believe the neighbor made things worse by basically trying to open the door to come in. And that's where all the commotion was. See, you got to remember something. Movies, believe it or not, tell the truth about a lot of the inner workings with what we think is the glamorous world. And the movie that I'm speaking of, which I believe is happening with Alicia Quarles, is Rosemary's Baby. Let me explain. If you've ever seen the iconic film Rosemary's Baby, Okay? Very good film, I have to say. But it is spooky. I think it's way more spooky than Jason and Michael. I don't even deal with the other one. I don't even say the other one's name. But it's very spooky because it's real. These are real life people. These aren't fictional horror characters. These are people that are in your everyday space. And it's an apartment building. And everyone who lived there is very successful. So you have this young woman named Rosemary who's pregnant. And her husband is basically in this cult. She don't want to be part of the cult. But the husband's in the cult because he's trying to be a big movie producer, director, and so forth. And in the end, when she had the baby, she had the devil's baby. So it's a way where it's like he sold not only his own soul, but he sold his seed soul. So when they conceived this baby, they conceived this horrible looking baby. And they all blessed the baby because she was the mother. She could never get out of the cult. She had no choice but to give in. The woman practically lost her mind. Because when she had the baby, she passed out. And everybody in the building was like, "Oh my God, what a beautiful baby." That wasn't even a baby. That shit, they wouldn't let you show the face. They wouldn't show the face in 1968. But if you look at American Horror Story Hotel with Lady Gaga, the face that the baby had, that was homage to Roman's baby. So if you think I'm going off tangent, I'm not going off tangent. I'm tying it in. We don't know what kind of building Alicia Quarles is living in. They may want her baby. They may want her baby soul. Because the woman who was in the videotape, my thing with this was, okay, she made posts that was alarming. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, you as the neighbor, you need to have just called if it was that bad. Why didn't you call the hospital? Why did you call the cops? You could have called the hospital. You could have called there are mental health facilities that you could have called. Why would you call the cops? Especially when she doesn't have that reputation. And then she said, if you see my eye like this, that means, I'm not okay. So I'm like, all right, this is a Rosemary's Baby type of thing. Then she interviewed with Jason Lee. Now, I like Jason Lee and all, but my thing is, for your situation, you needed to basically, in my opinion, get out of that building you living in. And you need to go to California with your family. Okay? And take a leave. Because once you put stuff on the internet like that, even though they did take down her channel, it stays there in the consciousness because people know you did that shit. You wrote that shit. And I feel bad for her because this was a young woman who never had any bad press as a journalist. Doing her thing from the time she was 20 years old out in LA, USC. The girl is official, legitimate with it. And she got to deal with this bullshit. Yeah, something ain't right here. Something ain't right here. And, I say, pray for her. But I also say, have the ancestors come around her. And, the spirit of her ancestors that she knew, have them hold her and put her up and basically get her mind right. Because, and the reason why I say that is because I don't know what religion other people are, what they believe in, but you can't ever go wrong when it comes to ancestors, people that she knew. Because for her to become successful like she did and never be involved in controversy, we know she come from a good lineage. And she is an FBA. And she graduated magna cum laude with a BA in journalism from USC. And that's a hard school to get into. Member of ASPCA and member of the National Association of Black Journalists. Worked for the Associated Press. Worked for as a producer for all these people, correspondent reporter for E! News, NBC News. Have her own business, CEO and management trainer, host, reporter, editor, speaker, and brand ambassador of Alicia Quarles Limited Liability Company. Also works for the Daily Mail. You gotta and oversees and oversaw a staff of 60 people. This system must be protected, and we can't throw her to the wolves. And all these people that live in that building that was calling, but I do have one thing to say. I'm curious to know who the baby father is, because she's pregnant. And I'm also curious to know if anybody else was in that house with her when the cops came. Because the way the camera was basically filmed, somebody else was in that house with her. Was she being drugged? Mind controlled? You know, having a mental breakdown? You know, is the boyfriend involved too? That's what I'm saying. This may be a Rosemary Baby kind of situation. You never know. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know your opinions. And hit the notification bell to receive future notices on various uploads. Also, if you haven't, please subscribe, comment, like, and share. And I'll be back soon. Later.